Hi, my name is Terry Wickham. I'm the writer, producer, director of the upcoming slasher feature film, Miss Scarlett. I also have another horror film that's going to be coming out shortly after, Beginning of the End in AI. And I have a new movie that's going to go in between them called Affair. I also directed Double Vision, Devil's Five, which featured Abandon. It featured Stash and the wraparound called The Devil's Five. Another horror anthology I was part of is called Gruesome Threesome. Another horror anthology I was part of called Evil Streets, which featured two movies I directed, Dash Stock and The Downfall of Johnny Garrett. And if you go way back to my first feature film, it was called Out of Touch. Kind of going to mix things up here and pull the rug out from everybody to think I'm going one decade further than the decade I named about 2 weeks ago, which was 2000 to 2010, or really 2009. I'm going to go back ten years. So we're going to go 1990 to 1999, the best horror films released in that period, from my opinion. Gave 6 through 10 the other day on my Instagram and Facebook. Just showed screen grabs of 6 through 10. Tonight I'm going to talk in detail about the top five. Number five is my favorite Tim Burton movie. It came out in 1999. I saw it when it was released in the theater, and that's Sleepy Hollow. If you look at Sleepy Hollow from afar, it's almost a perfect film. The acting is perfectly cast with, Johnny Depp, Christina Ricci, the late Jeffrey Jones, Michael Gambon, Casper Van Dien, and even the legendary Christopher Lee. But really, it's that Tim told kind of a serious horror film instead of just being kind of comical, like, Frankenweenie or Edward Scissorhands. It's darker, harder. It's really well shot by cinematographer Emmanuel Lubisky, frequent Burton collaborators, editor Chris Lebenzon, and his music composer Danny Elfman. They elevate the film just as well. Elfman's score is really nasty. It's dark. It's powerful. It has moments of drama, horror, and even humor. There's one scene in particular, I laugh every time I see it. But I love Sleepy Hollow, and I think it's underrated. No one ever talks about it with Burton's filmography, but it's one of his best films. Number four is a very celebrated film, rightfully so. I saw it the first weekend. It came out in 1990. It was based on the best-selling novel by Thomas Harris, which was actually a sequel, follow-up to his first book, which I read both. The first one was called Red Dragon. This was Silence of the Lambs. Jonathan Demme, who never directed a horror film before this movie or since, just knocked it out of the park. And I think the reason he did that is because he made the film feel like a crime film. It felt like you were really watching FBI agents and serial killers in a community. Great acting all around. And obviously, the celebrated performance of Sir Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. I also think Jodie Foster was underratedly kind of a subtle, powerful performance as Clarice Starling. Great disturbing score by David Cronenberg's composer Howard Shore. Really well shot. I think it was Tak Fujimoto shot that as well. Wonderful movie. Powerful. You don't forget it. And when I saw it in the theater at the end of the movie, where Clarice is in that house with the Buffalo Bill, Wild Bill, whatever they called him, and the lights go out and you have that green night vision and her pupils dilate, the whole audience was on pins and needles. It was really intense. So Silence of the Lambs, which I think is one of only three movies in the history of cinema that won the big five: best film, best director, best actor, best actress, and best adapted screenplay. Number three for me is a movie probably most people have never heard of, and you should. It's a movie from New Zealand by a really talented director. I actually emailed him about it. We talked a little bit by email, but that guy freaking killed it. And that was Scott Reynolds, The Ugly. 1997. I didn't see it in the theater. I don't think it ever got a US theatrical release, but oh my God. I was not expecting what I watched on that DVD when I saw it. It was very unpredictable. It was incredibly directorially creative and stylish. Reynolds just plays with time and space and cuts and transition, and it's nasty, and he's got like a different mindset of like what a killer's thinking. It's just so wonderful. A couple scenes in that you will never forget, and you've never seen another movie. My only disappointment for the film, which is actually not the movie, is that Scott has never made anything that level since. I don't even know if he's still making films, but this is a horror gem. Easily my third favorite film of that decade. Number two was released in the year that The Blair Witch came out. And I saw The Blair Witch at a special press screening because I was a writer for fearsmag.com, reviewing movies, books, DVDs, etc. at the time. So I got to see it 3 months before Blair Witch came out, and I didn't care for it. But 3 months later, this movie got released. And when I saw it opening night, I was like, oh my God, this is a classic. And that was The Sixth Sense. I saw it before I knew about the twist, so I saw the twist live without any pre-knowing. And I'll tell you what, that was really powerful. I think the way M. Night Shyamalan not only wrote it, but the way he directed the movie, it has this maturity that I see lacking in a lot of today's Hollywood films, especially the way they're shot with all that tension deficit directing. But he's got this elegant gracefulness where he lets scenes play out. The cinematography by Tak Fujimoto is really great. And that score by James Newton Howard is just sensitive. It's beautiful. It's also scary. Great acting, obviously. Dead on casting with Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment. I just think that The Sixth Sense is just a beautiful horror film. It's my number two of that decade. Number one, this was actually not hard for me because I saw it when it first came out. I liked it so much I went and saw it twice in the movie theater because I was a fan of his work before seeing this film. He's the only director in the history of film that's had a groundbreaking horror film in three consecutive decades. The 70s, it was The Hills Have Eyes. In the 80s, it was A Nightmare on Elm Street. So when Wes Craven directed Scream, I was there because I was a fan of Serpent in the Rainbow, Deadly Blessing, the list goes on and on. I gotta tell you, I know a lot of people talk about it now because there's all these sequels. I saw it when it first came out and I was a fan. So I didn't need this hype or press to tell me to go see this film. But I loved everything about Scream. Not only did it have this kind of trendy meta references to other slasher films like Halloween, but it was the way it was made. It was Wes Craven's most accomplished film. It's his most beautiful film. It's got incredible debut score from Marco Beltrami. I think it's really suspenseful. I would argue it's as iconic as Ghostface is as a killer. Incredible inspired casting. Those actors were perfect for those roles. I don't know if they've ever done anything better than this movie, which is a credit to not only them, but Wes Craven. Make no mistake about it. Wes Craven's Scream is a horror genre landmark, and in my opinion, the number one movie that was a horror film from 1990 to 1999. All right, thank you guys for listening. Check out those movies if you haven't. If you want to see 6 through 10, go look at my Facebook and Instagram. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care now.